The whole story of the 1,000 miles of Pinot Noir is really interesting to people, and I think to hem the whole thing together, to kind of take us through a tour of all of our vineyard placements has always kind of been an idea of ours. So moving from the Santa Barbara County area through the Santa Rita Hills appellation, up through the Central Coast to Napa and Anderson Valley, Sonoma County, and then on through to the Shea property. In the Willamette Valley is a lot of distance to cover, and each of these places is so unique, and the people behind them are really part of our story. So we thought it'd be a really fun idea to actually get out of the road and check these places out.
I'm Chris, this is Mel. We work at WALT Wines here in Sonoma. This is 1,000 Miles of Pinot.
Anderson Valley is a really interesting area.
Interesting to say the least. There's some really wonderful people up there, and it is so different than just 2 hours south down in the Sonoma and Napa Valley.
Here we are.
Yes! Boonville,
California. Beautiful morning. I had no idea it was this high.
Yeah, so we have our 2 wines out of this vineyard, Corners, and then Blue Jay is farther down on the valley floor. The name Blue Jay is actually kind of interesting. Mel, do you know the story on that?
So in the language Bootling, spoken by the folks from Boonville who are called Blue Jays.
And then the name The Corners, this is formerly called the Anderson Creek Vineyard. The Corners is what the folks in Boonville call the town of Boonville itself.
The town of Boonville, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking off to my right-hand side, which is overlooking the entire vineyard.
That is amazing.
Blue Jay is the lower blocks, I think is my understanding.
Yeah, and then the stuff up here is the Corners, and that's where Dom's going to meet us here in a bit, so we're excited.
Hi guys.
All right.
How are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too.
See you again.
Here at the Corners, we own about 150 acres total.
Oh, okay.
But we have planted about 35 acres, all of it to Pinot Noir. And so this ranch is one of the first ranches that we picked. This is one of the warmer sites in Anderson Valley. Okay. And as you move up the valley, it becomes cooler because you're getting closer to the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's also more fog intrusion as well.
So this is a whole different rhythm than every other vineyard we source from, pretty much.
It is, yeah, it is.
Just a quick jaunt down the road from Boonville is our Savoy vineyard.
Really different property from Corners and only separated by just a couple of miles.
Yeah, you know, we've been talking about Pinot and how it likes to grow on the extreme edges. I'd like to think that Savoy is probably a little past the extreme.
I think it does take it to the nth degree for sure.
So welcome, we're at Savoy Vineyards, one of our grower vineyards.
Yeah.
Beautiful here.
I wanted to bring you guys here to see the difference between the Corners and something in what's called the deep end. A little bit cooler here.
I noticed that the second we got
yeah.
here, yeah. And just the feel, look of the whole place is totally different too.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking for an adventure and I want to try something cool that might surprise me, that Anderson Valley is where I go.